Alrighty, so we got 5x minus 10y equals 4, and we have y equals a half x plus 2/5. We're solving by substitution. We already have this y isolated, so we'll probably want to use that and plug this stuff in for y in the other equation. You okay with that step? Okay, 5x minus 10 times a half x plus 2/5 is equal to 4. Now, we've got an equation with just x in it. That's nice. This will end up solving for x, hopefully. We've got to apply the distributive property with the negative 10. Negative 10 times this thing, then negative 10 times this thing. I'm just going to go slowly. So, negative 10, times like a half x. And then negative 10 times that's negative 10 times 2/5. Okay, so that's what we'll end up with. Let's turn the negative 10 into a fraction though, so we can multiply the fractions.
That's negative 10
over 1. Yeah. So negative 10 over 1 times 1 over 2x. A lot of students like to go, okay, negative 10 times 1, that's negative 10 over 1 times 2 is 2, right? So negative 10 over 2x, which makes what? Negative 5x, yep. Yeah. And what does this thing work out to be?
That's, wait, 20. Also, negative 10 over 1.
Right. Negative 10 times 2 is 20. Over 1 times 5 is 5. Negative 20 over 5, which makes... All right. Right. So this whole distributive property gave us that. Now we still have this 5x to write down. So you got 5x there. Right? And then equals what's over here? 4, right? Okay with that? So now if you continue to simplify, what ends up happening? What's 5x minus 5x?
That's
0x, or 0, right?
Or 0.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like 5 apples, take away 5 apples, leaves what?
No apples.
Right, 0 apples or 0, nothing, right? Yeah, so 0x or just 0, same thing. So you have 0 minus 4, or just negative 4 is equal to 4, okay? We get negative 4 equals 4. Now, y'all supposed to memorize this. That's a contradiction, which means no solution. However, on your test, I'm going to make y'all graph it anyway. So, for a bit of practice, why not graph this anyway? Because I'm going to make you do it on your test, right? So, basically, and if you ever have a problem like this, you want to just double check it. And so what I'm going to have you do is solve it by graphing just to double check, right? And so we're just going to solve by graphing just to double check this, that it is no solution, right? Because that gives us an insight as to what's going on. So one equation is already y equals a half x plus 2/5, right? This is the other equation. So I want you to solve for y with this equation. 5x minus 10y equals 4. If we were to solve for y, what would we do? Write it down and take the first step. What would you do? Write it down.
Solve for y, subtract 5x.
Good. Okay, and we're left with what?
Minus 10y equals 4x minus 5, or minus 5x plus 4.
Yeah, minus 5x plus 4. Yep. And now to get y on its own, we need to divide by
minus 10.
negative 10. Yeah. So divide everything by negative 10. All of the terms by negative 10, right? So what will we get?
Y equals
Take your time.
2x
Now take your time here. Is this 2?
minus 5.
So let's just start with the sign. It's negative over negative. What's the sign going to be?
Positive.
Positive. Okay, now just wait there. We're done with the sign. Now just look at the 5 and the 10. What's 5 over 10? 5 over 10 makes what?
Oh, a half.
Right. It's not 2 though, is it?
It's not 2.
Right. 2? No, right. Because 10 over 5 would be 2, right? So you can go 5. And if you want to cross cancel, 5 and a 5 goes once. 5 and a 10 goes twice. But it's a half. And then the x, you just write that there. A half, positive a half x, right? Cool. Now, over here we have plus 4 over negative 10. Positive over negative, what is the sign?
It's going to be negative.
Negative, good. And simplify 4/10 and you get what? 2 into 4 goes
2 times.
twice. 2 into 10,
5.
5. Okay. So we get negative
Negative
2/5. Good. So we have y equals a half x minus 2/5, right? Now, I'll call that the black equation, and this was the equation on the left, right? It became this, right? A half x minus 2/5. The equation on the right, the half x plus 2/5, looks like this, right? Doesn't it? Right? So if we were to plug points in and make a graph, like if x is 0, what do we get here? A half times 0 minus 2/5, which is
minus 2/5.
yeah, negative 2/5. And here we have a half times 0 plus 2/5, which is
Positive
2/5, right? So these are giving us different things, and so on and so forth. But let's see. Can I find another useful point? No, I'm just going to rely on you guys' experience with graphing. That'll be fun times. So what I'm going to say is, if you were to graph this, and I'm not going to go through all the points because I just want to get the general point of what's happening. If you were to graph it, right, yes, one of them intersects at positive 2/5, right, on the y-axis, right, but then it has a slope of a half. That's run 2, rise 1, run 2, rise 1, run 2, rise 1. You with me? It would look like this. That's our kind of red line. The other one intercepts at negative 2/5 here. Negative 2/5. And it has a slope of run 2, rise 1. Where am I going with this? 1, 2, rise 1, and so on. Run 2, rise 1, run 2, rise 1. So that slope, don't they have the same slope though? They have the same slope because you know from your graphing that this number is the slope, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. So they have the same. Now, if two lines have the same slope, where are they going to hit?
Sorry?
Where are they going to intersect? Where are these lines ever going to meet?
They're not meeting.
Right. Exactly. This is y equals a half x minus 2/5. Oh, sorry. Sorry, no, this was the plus 2/5. Half x plus 2/5. and the purple is y equals a half x minus 2/5, right? The point is they have the same slope. That half is the key to everything. They have the same slope, but they've different intercepts. So they're not on top of each other with infinite points of intersection, correct? They're not the exact same line. They are different, but they do have the same slope, which means they're parallel lines, right? Okay, parallel lines. So no point of intersection, right? So that means no solution. So in other words, what's your answer? XY equals what? What point lies on both lines?
What point?
Yeah. What's the answer? Nothing. There is no point because they're parallel lines. They never meet, right? That's what parallel lines are. They don't meet, so there's no point. If they weren't parallel, they would cross, and then you would have one point of intersection, right? If lines are parallel, they're never going to meet like that, or whatever. If they're not parallel, then they will meet at some point. Even if they start out, it doesn't matter where they start, they will. Two straight lines are going to hit if they're not parallel, correct? Yeah, if this is not parallel to this, they're going to hit at some point, right? They're going to collide, aren't they? Right, yes. Two lines will always hit, unless the only way two lines cannot meet is if they're parallel. Agreed? That's as long as they're going on forever, right? Yeah. Okay, so so when you get the same slope, you got parallel lines, so there's no solution, right? Good. And like I said, when we're doing solving the equation, whenever you end up with this contradiction situation, that implies that you do have parallel lines, right? And like I said, on the test, I'll have you all graph it, but you know, a contradiction means there's no solution. If you want to memorize that, you can.